You know about Trump's bizarre obsession with it and what a complete disaster it's been. You know about the guy they indicted for allegedly vandalizing it before dropping the case and admitting the damage was the result of a botched renovation. But today, the New York Times published a new report based on internal government documents and interviews with 20 sources, and it paints by far the clearest picture yet of how the murky green mess came to be. The Times sums it up like this, quote, documents and interviews establish how a first-time contractor was paid millions of dollars to apply a novel solution designed by a golf club manager to a national landmark. And if that one sentence doesn't perfectly capture this president and this administration, well, tell me what does. Joining me now is New York Times reporter David Fahrenthold, who co-wrote that piece and who has been all over this story from the very beginning. So again, some very, very fine reporting, David. Obviously, the Interior Department defended its handling of this project. What else were they going to do? But you know, the process you reported on is too crazy for me to do it justice. So look, dude, I'm going to give it to you. What stood out to you most when you're reporting this, and just how wackadoodle is it?
Well, so here's the thing. The reflecting pool has the same problems at the start of Trump's term that it's always had. It leaks and it's got algae in the summer. And the Park Service, which oversees it, has a plan. All they need is some money to implement this plan they've had for a long time to fix those things. Instead of just choosing the plan that they'd spent all these years working on, they throw it out the window and give the job to a golf club manager, this guy who was the head of Trump's golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey. He doesn't know anything about this. He's not an engineer, he's not an architect. He has a golf club, it has a swimming pool, but that's it. So he's the one who designs this plan. He comes up with it after going to a concrete conference in Las Vegas and walking around and talking to people. That's where this begins.
Oh, and it's nothing like the beginning of anything as silly as this. I mean, growing up in D.C., I connect so well with what you said at the beginning there about everybody in this town knows, okay, Washington is a swamp. In the summer, it's hot, right? And guess what's going to happen to stagnant water? It's going to get algae. But they had a plan, and certainly it was a crazy one. But here's the thing that was, for me, the favorite part of this was the tariff piece. Tell me how the hell tariffs wind up being a part of this process.
Well, so the golf club manager decides, after talking to people at the concrete conference, that he wants to spread a layer of blue polyurea, blue plastic, across the bottom of the reflecting pool. That's something that doesn't need to be done. The Park Service never thought it needed to be done. It comes out of kind of nowhere. And so they embark on this plan, and then they run into the tariffs, which is, the problem is that the tariffs have made the ingredients in this stuff more expensive and harder to find. So their plan, which is already at the last minute, already on deadline, already expensive, becomes more of all those things because of the tariffs.
You know, the story is manic in its stupidity and ineptitude and just sheer sycophancy for Trump. But there's some serious aspects to it as well, and it involved, of course, David Hearn, who was arrested and charged with vandalizing federal property. Talk about that piece of the story so folks can really begin to see, when you connect those dots, just how messed up this was.
So after they refilled the reflecting pool and said the project was done, and President Trump said it would last for 100 years, it starts peeling up. The blue stuff on the bottom starts peeling up. And rather than admit that their renovation had gone bad, Trump blames vandalism, says these shadowy vandals are out there ripping it up. That's why it's falling apart. And then Jeanine Pirro, who is the U.S. attorney in Washington, they start charging people with crimes, basically to try to back up that story, to make it seem like, well, Trump was right when he blamed vandals. So this guy, this U.S. Olympian, is seen with his hands in the pool. They charge him with a felony. It could have been 10 years in jail for supposedly vandalizing the pool, all in the service of sort of propping up this false tale that vandals are the problem and not the renovation itself.
So we got less than a minute left, but I want to talk about, the title of your piece is How the Reflecting Pool Came to Mirror Trump's Washington. Talk about how this story has become a reflection of this administration and this president.
couple of ways. The first way is just sycophancy. You mentioned it earlier, that everybody's a yes man. And so in this case, this golf club manager comes up with a plan out of nowhere. It's not a very good idea. Nobody's able to say no or even to sort of stop it and ask questions. They just pass it on. And everybody suffers, right? They all get a worse plan that embarrasses everyone at the end because no one could say no in the middle. And then you also see falsehoods deployed by Trump, by this Interior Secretary, by everybody. Instead of admitting there's a problem or trying to have some accountability, it's just lying, basically saying that the problem is not my problem or it's vandals, doing anything than accepting responsibility for what in the grand scheme of things is a pretty small mistake.